Hi, it's Denise with My Practice Now. We're going to do the module for owners and office managers. This is an extremely important module as it's going to help you make sure that there are no hiccups along the way and your workflow is going to be seamless. So when you first signed up to MPN, you did receive a welcome email that gave you access to our support center. Our support center is extremely important. In our support or solution center, you're going to be able to find articles and videos that you can watch at your convenience. The first module that you need to watch or read within our solution center is called Setting MPN Step by Step. When you click on that folder, you're going to see a lot of articles that you need to read. We are actually going to be going over step 10, which is the watch or read the owner officer manager collection. So by this time you should have already done steps 1 through 9. If you have not sent the documents, the forms, templates to your software coach and all of the above, you really need to do that right away. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the other links that were sent to your welcome email, it is the access to MPN. So let's go ahead and log in by using the username and password that was on the welcome email. When you first log into your software, you're going to be able to see at the top left corner your menu bar. If you click on this purple button here at the top, it will expand your menu bar with titles. This is going to be helpful for you since you're not familiar with the software yet. It'll basically give you a little map of the things or the sections within the software. But once you get familiar with it, you can always hide it and keep the icons. Here at the top, you'll have a search bar where you can search for your patients. And on the top right corner, you're going to have the portal access button. If you click on this button now, you can actually copy and paste this link and put it on your website or your email signatures, wherever is it that you want to put it, so your patients can have a quicker access to their patient portal. This envelope here is access to your internal messaging system. It's kind of like an email within MPN that only sends out to your staff members or to whoever has access to MPN. If you do have the fax module included within your subscription, you will also be able to fax from this module as well. You have the clock in and clock out section. You can log out, and here at the top far right corner, you have 3 little bars, which is your activity center. It will tell you the activity within the practice. If there's a new patient, an appointment, a payment, anything that happens throughout the software, it's going to be shown here. If you do not like notifications, you can just click on this and all of the notifications will be disabled like you see here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on because I do like it. You can click on this tab that says review. Any forms or documents that get uploaded into the software will be displayed here for you to review. Any to-dos, which are basically an electronic sticky note that you can send to your staff members to remember to do something, along with logs, just in case someone called or emailed. You have to keep a routine of putting everything within the patient profile. Because what happens if you let a staff member go or you delete an email account, then all of that data gets deleted and you may need it for future reference. So this is where you can create a log of what happened, the conversation or the communication you had with the patient. And then you can take a look at the created ones that you did, so that way you can make sure and follow up if they're still open. But we're going to be focusing at the second to last icon today, which is the admin settings. If I expand my menu, you'll be able to see here. This is what we're going to be focusing on today to make sure we set up everything so when the staff member gets a hold of MPN, the process is seamless and they're not going to be encountering any problems. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to come to the company settings. We're going to click on that. And just to give you a little tip, what a lot of clients like to do as they are watching my training video, they will actually split their screen. They'll have my video on one side and they are going to have their software on the other. So as I am doing whatever it is I'm doing on the training video, they actually can mock it or copy everything I'm doing as I am doing it, and they can always pause my video, keep doing what they're doing, and then push play and keep going forward. This is going to be very helpful if you're going to be using this time to also set up your software and not just watch the training. All right, so of course the company information is very important. You click on company name to change the name, the address, the phone number. This is what is going to be displayed in all of your email reminders, all of your email confirmations, any invoices, super bills, anything that you print, EA chart notes. This is where the information gets taken from and printed and displayed on your patient portal, etc. So you need to make sure that you have the correct name, address, phone number, and here at the bottom the email is the address that you put on here. It's the address that is going to be sending the confirmations and the reminder emails. So if you're going to put, for example, info at My Practice Now, but you never check info at mypracticenow.com or info your practice name, if someone wants to reply to that email or send you an email from their portal, etc., your patient might be upset because you're not responding to those. So make sure that whatever email you put on here, you do check on a daily basis. So that way, if they do respond to anything that you send them, they'll go directly to you. Now, this option, whether you want to tax banks or not, you may not know the answer to it now, but you can always come back to it later. This is just basically choosing whether you want to be able to tax supplements or labs or things like that. It depends and it varies on different states or countries. We do have, our software is worldwide, so that it just basically depends on your accounting. The same thing with your report method. If you do a cash-based accounting or a cured-based accounting, this may be a question for your accountant. So if you don't know the answer, you can always leave it blank and then come back to it. But it is very important that you go back and select what report method and if you are going to be taxing banks or not. You can enter your website, the tax ID and NPI number if you are going to be printing super bills or invoices that you will let your patients go ahead and submit to insurance. You do have to put your tax and your NPI number, as that is needed for them to have for their super bill to be approved. If you don't want that and you don't want to share that information, you can just leave it blank like it is now. Here at the bottom, the invoice footer sentence is basically just any type of, if you have any refund policy, anything you want to let the client know, you can go ahead and put it on here. This is just a generic sentence that we put on every software, but you can customize it to your practice needs. A lot of clients do say there's a cancellation fee if you cancel before 24-hour notice, or if there are no refunds on supplements, or there is no refunds, period. So whatever is it that you want to meet your practice needs, you can go ahead and do that. And then here on the right hand side of the company settings, you're going to find 3 tabs: the login logo, the header logo, and the email logo. Now, the login logo is exactly what you saw and what you're going to be seeing on when you log into either the patients log into their portal or you log into the software. So this icon is what is going to be the login logo. To change it, it's very simple. You're going to come here at the bottom where it says import image. You're going to click on that. You're going to select the logo, click open. Now, if you notice, this is a very distorted image. Why? I purposely chose that one because if it looks distorted here, it's going to show distorted on your portal, and you really don't want that. So what we highly suggest that you do is that you upload a PNG file and it is clear, so that even though you're going to be uploading just an icon, it is visible and it is something that patients can easily identify. So let me go ahead and put in a correct logo here. All right, so I'm going to keep my logo, but you can definitely import your image there You can reset it if you're going to be doing moving it up or down, flipping it horizontal or vertical. You can rotate it to the right, to the left. You can zoom it in and zoom out. You can crop it, or you can move it if you need to. So that is for the login logo. You can also do for the header and your email logo. So depending on how you want to do, yes, they can all be the same, but you can basically just be creative as you want when it comes to your logos. So once you update the company info, you are going to click update here at the bottom. And there, your settings have been updated. Now, before I do switch over to my next tabs, because I did leave things blank that I need to get back to after I find out the information, and for me to prevent from forgetting, I am going to actually create a to-do. I'm going to come to the Activity Center. I'm going to click on to-do. I'm going to click create. And it's a to-do. You don't have to link it to a patient. You can. In this case, it's staff related, so there's no patient needed. I'm going to select today. And when do I need to have this by? Let's just select Friday. Is it a priority? Well, we can leave it normal. What's a category? Well, the category is what type of to-do is it? In this case, it's going to be admin. I'm going to assign it to myself. You can assign it to more than one staff member. So for example, if you were to give access to your accountant, you can then select your accountant username, and then you can type here, please. All right, so please change the company info settings. We need to update the tax banks, report method, and the tax ID and NPI number in the software. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And there you go. There is my to-do. And when your accountant logs in, she will know that she needs to do this and address it. Once she is done with that, she can make comments, post it, and then once she's actually done, she can come in and close it. Or if she says, you know what, you're the one who needs to answer that, then she can reassign it to someone else, make comments, whatever it is that needs to happen. But the good thing about it is that you're not going to forget, because some clients do forget to enter this information, and then they'll come back and says, oh, my clients are not getting the emails, or this is happening. And then we go back to the company settings and we're like, well, there was no email there. So we need to make sure that you know who or what address to use for your confirmations and reminders to be sent to. So I'm just going to type in here. Perfect. I'm going to click update. Next is the client types. The client types are going to help you categorize your patients depending on what program you have signed them up or what is their primary diagnosis. Now, this is not where you enter ICD codes. This is not what it's used. This is not going to be linked to your EHR. This is merely for marketing purposes. If you want to know how many diabetes 2 patients you have, or that came from your weight loss programs, or there are only leads, this is what you need to do. There are pre-populated client types that you can use, but if they're not going to work for you, you can always come in and delete them or edit them. So you can add a client by clicking add client type. You enter the title and press submit. Or you can already use the ones that are on here, click edit to edit the title, or delete if you don't need to use them. Now, the to-do categories is what we just talked about when we entered a to-do in the company info. You can add more than one category if you like. If you are very meticulous about it and there are some uppercase, and like for example, this one is lowercase, I can always go back and change it. So pretty simple. The Synduit API. Now, if you don't know what Synduit is, I recommend that you do go and check them out. This is just basically a marketing software. It's very similar to ActiveCampaign. So if you are already using ActiveCampaign, then there really isn't no need for you to switch to Synduit. It's just basically a very similar softwares. If you are going to be linking Synduit to MPN, it will let you know which patients are linked, any patients that are pending, and then of course the settings that you can modify. Pending patients, again, if you don't use Synduit, there really is a need for you to know about this feature. But if you do, all you have to do is once you get a patient in MPN, you can then click on this icon that says link, and then that information will be sent to Synduit. So it's a seamless process instead of you having to download the information or manually having to go in to Synduit account and manually enter the information of the patient that you just signed up. It's just basically a seamless process. So this is what Synduit does. And then here at the last tab in the company setting, it is taxes. You can add as many taxes as you like. You can edit the existing taxes or delete it. To add a tax, you simply click on Add Tax. You enter the name of the tax and then you enter the percentage. Click Submit and you're done. That is all in the company settings tab. Let's go back to the settings menu, and then our next setting is going to be the user settings. Let's click on that. Now, the user settings, of course, it's whoever you're going to be giving access to MPN and the permissions you're going to give them while navigating through MPN. To add a user, you click on Add User. You're going to create a username, password. You're going to enter the first name, the last name, the email, usually would be their work email or the email that they check every day, because whenever we have either updates or notifications of the system, we will be emailing this address. If you want to get alerts, yes or no, what alerts am I talking about? If this is a provider and you turn this on, it will send them notifications or alerts if someone arrived, if someone canceled, if someone made a payment, and so on. So very similar to the activity tab here at the top, but this is done through email or by cell phone number. They can also get text messages for that. So they can enter their cell phone number, and then the permission group. You have different permission groups depending on what you create on your own. So for example, you can have admin, bookkeeper, financials, front desk 2, reception, remote therapist, calendar only, etc. So again, these are all customizable depending to meet your practice needs. Then you can add to the notification alert, and you can create a calendar. Now, if you're going to be creating a calendar, you can choose whether they only can see their calendar or not. If you want them to see the entire calendar of the practice, then you can uncheck this and they'll be able to see everybody's calendar. The calendar name, the professional license and specialty license, and the signature, it's basically, you can do it with your mouse, or if you're setting it up on an iPad, then you can use your finger to create your signature. The signature is very important if the user is a provider. Why? Because this signature is going to be then placed in all the templates, in all the EHR notes that this provider creates. So this is why it's important for you, if this is a provider, to add their professional license, if they have a specialty license, and then add the signature. You can clear by just clicking on this button and then trying over again. Once you're done, you click submit and you will add the username. To edit a username, you simply click on edit, modify what you need to change, or you can delete the username. Now let's take a look at the permission settings. To add a group, you can click on add group, enter the group name, and with each module in MPN, you're going to give them the availability to view, to add, to edit, and to delete. So if you add a group name, and then you select for them to be able to view the calendars, and then they can add patients to the calendar, they can edit appointments, and or they can delete appointments. Then all of this should be checked. If you don't want them to delete, then you can uncheck this and they won't be able to delete. The same thing with all of the other settings. If you want them to view the settings permission, you can click view, and that way they will have access to modify any changes in the settings as you want. I do recommend that you disable all of the delete options only to the admins, and only admins can delete things, just in case, because we've had some cases where people do make mistakes and then they come back to us wanting us to restore data, and sometimes we can, but if the client deliberately clicked delete and bypassed all of the alerts and then they come back to us, it is not reversible. So you may have to make sure to whoever deletes things in the software, it's because they really can and they have the authorization to do so. Now, all of the other groups that are here, you can come back and change them to meet your practice needs, because remember, these are just some suggestions that we have for you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But you can always click on and go back, change the wording if you need to. If it's going to be admin, I always suggest that you check everything, because you want to be able to see everything. Sometimes for the administrators, they go ahead and either take out the settings permission, and then they'll come back to us and say, hey, I can't see the setting. Well, the reason why, it's because you took it off and you were marked as an admin with the permission rights for admin, and then when they logged back in, the settings were off, so they couldn't see it. But we were able to restore that for them. So you can close it or update it, or you can delete the group setting, whatever is it that you're needing to do. Next, we have the calendar settings. Our calendar setting has different tabs. It's the appointments, the provider breaks, rooms, calendar time, and if you want to link Google Calendar, you can as well. But to start with the first tab, which is appointments, you can add an appointment type just by clicking add appointment. You can enter the appointment name. You can select the color of your choice. And if the appointment is going to be specific hours and or minutes, you would select, if it's going to be 1 hour, you select 1, and if it's going to be 0 minutes because it's 1 hour, then you type 0 minutes. Or if it's going to be 0 minutes and 15 or 30 or 45. So you have to make sure that you select either the minutes and 0 if it's going to be less than an hour, or if it's going to be more than an hour, you select 1 and 0 minutes or 30 minutes or so on. Now, once you selected the appointment length, you can automate charges. What does this do? Every time you add an appointment in the calendar for this appointment, let's go ahead and call it report of findings. So when I create an appointment for report of findings and then I arrive the patient, these charges that I add on here will be automatically added to the patient's ledger. This is a great feature because especially if you are a solo practitioner or small or short-staffed, you can definitely automate things into the software. So you can click on add more, and then you select whatever appointment you want to link that to. And you can say, for example, I want to add this to a bank. Again, this bank option is for wellness programs or wellness practices that do sell wellness programs that include supplement banks, a lab bank, etc. So for example, if this was to be lab review, and you know for a fact that in every lab review, you actually give, there's your lab work, and you're going to apply it to the lab bank if you had a lab bank. but you're going to add another one because you say, you know what, I always give vitamin D with my lab work. It is always there, or maybe 98% of the time I rather delete it from the ledger than add it. Then you can go ahead and link vitamin D and the lab work service. And if the patient has a supplement bank, you can directly send it to the supplement bank, so then it deducts it from there. So it's very awesome and a very seamless process for you as well. Now, this include in ROF reports, because our software is targeted for wellness practices. I know that a lot of practitioners with functional medicine are very interested in their marketing. And that being said, sometimes they track how many report of findings they've had. And although we do have this report of finding already that links to all of our marketing reports, there are some practices that do not like to call it ROF, but like to call it new patient appointment or report of findings, whatever. So this option here, it allows you to select or add whatever report of findings or new patient appointment that you do want to link it into your marketing reports, such as an ROF. So you can click in include and include that new appointment type for that specific report, or you can always use our ROF appointment so that your marketing statistics can be accurate. This is a list of all of your appointments. You can search by name if you want. Color, the length of the appointment. If there are automated charges, it will have a number next to the line item. And then you can click on edit. And of course, you can delete. To edit, you click edit. You make the changes and then click update. And the same thing with delete. You just basically click delete, and you can bypass the alert and click on yes, delete. So before I move on, I'm going to show you one more example of how you can take advantage of the automations in MPN. I'm going to create my detox class. Now in my detox class, I always give my detox kit to my patients. So if I have 10 people coming in, it's a lot of manpower to, as they're doing the class, my front desk start entering all of those items when it could have been done seamlessly and automated without her having to do it all at once. So I'm going to select that it's an hour appointment, and then I'm going to click on automate charges. So I am going to add my detox class. And I always, during my detox class, give vitamin E, vitamin D. I give probiotics. You could actually even have like a whole detox kit and then just put it in there. In this case, I don't have a detox kit in, so I'm just using the example of these three. And if I had a class bank, I could have linked my class bank to my detox class, so it could deduct it off my bank. But in this case, I don't, so I am going to leave it blank. But I do have a supplement bank. So I am going to select my supplement bank to my products. And so what's going to happen is when I arrive this patient or my patients to my detox class, I am letting MPN know, okay, these people showed up, so go ahead and add those charges to the ledger. It will add the detox class, all of the products that you selected. It will deduct it from the supplement bank, which means that if the patient had $1,500 worth of supplements, now they will have $1,000, because if you add all of these supplements, it was $500. So it's very easy, very seamless, and that way your front desk doesn't have 10 people looking at them waiting to be checked out. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. And there's my appointment detox class, the color I selected, the length. It is an automated charge. And if I ever need to go back because I changed supplements or I added an extra supplement to my detox kit, I can always go ahead and add it there. What happens if I did have the link to the supplement here, but the patient no longer has a supplement bank or has exceeded their supplement bank? Don't worry about them. If they don't have a supplement bank, it will send them to the balance. And if they exceeded the supplement bank, it will add the balance of what they owe. That way you don't have to worry about that, and it'll be still a seamless process for you. Okay, so let's take a look at provider breaks. All of the providers that you have on here are depending on the providers that you selected under the user settings. If you select somebody that has a calendar and has a professional license, specialty license, and signature, these are not required. I do recommend that you put them on there if they are going to be creating chart notes. But if they are not, anybody that is a provider, which means they have breaks, this is where it's grabbing this information from. So you can click on edit and you can select, okay, on Sunday, I'm not going to do anything because Dr. Doe does not work on Sunday. But on Monday, I am going to select a break, and we're going to do a 10 o'clock to 10:15 break. You can make it black. I usually recommend that when there are breaks or out of the office or anything, you just make it black. So that way you know for sure you cannot book anybody. And then you can click on add break. My second break. Okay, well, let's take Dr. Doe goes out to lunch from 1 to 2 p.m. So let's go ahead and that. Again, we're going to select black. And keep on adding more. So you can add as many breaks as Dr. Doe needs for Monday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc., etc. If they don't work, just leave it blank, and then that way you don't have to create any breaks. To remove it, you simply click on remove, or to add, you click on add as many times as you need to. I do need you to understand that these provider breaks are just color blocks in the calendar. They do not mean that you cannot book an appointment on top of it. Why? Because sometimes they will have a break, let's say for example at 10 o'clock to 10:15, but there might be an emergency that you want to go ahead and place on there. So to override it, you can. These are just color blocks that are depending on their practitioner breaks, but that can be overwritten by creating a new appointment. To save, you can click save. And then you can keep on going to all of the other providers. The rooms tabs is something very simple. You can create as many rooms as you have in the office, and you can make it required for specific appointments. And if I want to make sure that all of my appointments have rooms, then you can make it a required field. So when someone is booking an appointment, they have to select which room they are going to be placed in for that appointment. The calendar time is based on your office hours. If you open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., you can leave it there, or you can change it to however you need to. So this is going to be based on office hours. And then last but not least, the Google Calendar. This is going to be very important. This is going to be very important because what this does, it is going to work a two-way street. It will send appointments that you have on your Google. It will send appointments that you have on your Google Calendar to MPN, and it will send appointments you have in MPN to Google Calendar. But please remember that we do not share patient information with Google. So what it's going to do, it only will be sending block of appointments, and it will say MPN appointment on your calendar. It will not display patient information. You will have to log into MPN to see that. To link Google Calendar, you simply click on link Google account. It's going to ask you to choose what account you want to link to MPN. Now, Google always does this, so don't be alarmed. All you have to do is click Advanced and Proceed. Why? Because since Google did not create MPN, it always sends a threat saying that it might be spam or hack or whatever, but it really isn't. It's just basically the protection to make sure that in case something were to happen, they're not held reliable for it. And then you're going to allow MPN to be linked to Google. So you're going to click allow. So once you linked an account to MPN, you have to come to the edit section. Let's go ahead and update it. Once you name it, then you can come in to the only provider calendar you have, or to however many calendars providers they'll be displayed on here. So click on edit, and then this is where it kind of gets tricky. Now you have to have two calendars, one that MPN can pull from and one that Google can push from. So your main email, so the main calendar where you actually book the appointments within Google are going to be the push calendar. So you're going to select the account because you can add as many accounts, okay? And then click on calendar and you're going to use that calendar. But for the pull calendar, you're going to add the same account, but under the calendar, you have to say MPN to clinic name, which is your practice name. So I'm going to select this. So this is how it needs to look. You need to have a calendar that speaks to MPN, and then you need to have another calendar in Google that will pull information to your Google. If you have any questions, there is an amazing article just in case you do get a little confused with this. If you go to the sign up section at the very end of your step-by-step guide, it says link to Google Calendar. So it basically gives you step-by-step, it gives you the explanations and so on. So this is an amazing article. If you did get a little confused for this, don't worry. Read that article and it's definitely going to help you. And then you can choose to send existing appointments to Google Calendar, which means the last 30 days. Once you're done, you click update and you're good to go. Your Google Calendar was linked to MPN. Just a little clarification. This MPN to clinic name is a calendar that I already created in my account with Google under my calendar. So you need to go to your Google Calendar and create another calendar that says something like this, MPN2, and then your clinic name. And that way you can link it as a pull calendar. Again, it gets a little tricky, but this article is going to do wonders for you. The next thing we're going to look into is the reminder or the notification settings. Every appointment that you establish in MPN will have an option for you to send an automated email and text confirmation, an automated text and email reminder. You can do a second reminder, you can do same-day reminders, and if I show you here, you can have an arrived sequence, a canceled, confirmed, no-show, and rescheduled sequence, which this allows you to engage with your patients. Remember, MPN is a patient engaging software. So you definitely want to take advantage of it because you are already paying for this type of automated services within MPN. So let's take a look at the confirmation settings. The first thing you're going to see is whether you want this active or not. As a former office manager from a functional medicine practice that was very successful, I highly recommend that you have this active. Why? As soon as the patient is booked with an appointment in your calendar, whether it's online, through the phone, through the portal, by walking in your office, or any type of way that our software allows you to add appointments to the calendar, then they will receive that immediate confirmation letting them know that they are booked. But not only that, it will give them more options and instructions to what to expect when they come for their appointment. For example, This ROF is active. The confirmation setting is active, which means they will receive it automatically. So when I am booking that ROF, if I am on the phone, I can say, Denise, I just booked you. Can you please confirm you received the text and email? Yes, I just got the text. Yes, I got the email. Perfect. Can you open it for me? Yes, I opened it. All right. Please follow the instructions. Look at what's in the body of the email. Click on that button that says My Patient Portal. Let's get you situated with that. And there are some, whether you have attachments or forms that you've already linked to the confirmation, which means you can say, please go ahead and fill out all of the forms. We need to make sure we have them filled out before the appointment, and so on and so on. The wording of what you tell the patient is up to you. But it's highly recommended because this way you're engaging with your patient right off the bat. So for example, again, through my experience, I would recommend that you allow them to confirm online, but I would check off the cancel and reschedule, especially for new patients. Why? Because if a patient wants to cancel or reschedule, you already know they're having doubts, or they're maybe not interested, they're not 100% convinced, and you may lose the opportunity to convince them as if you had them on the phone. So if they want to cancel or if they want to reschedule, they're going to have to call you, and you're going to have to try to win them back over the phone or over an email, whatever it is that they're communicating you, letting you know that they want to cancel. So I will leave the confirm on, but choose the online cancel and reschedule. Just take it off because you don't want that. And how do they confirm online? There is a button that displays on the email that allows them to click on it. And as soon as they click on that confirm online, it then confirms the appointment in your calendar, which means you don't have to call the patient if that's what you want. So it saves an extra phone call for you, or a step for you to have to handle that. So once you change the settings, you can exclude the provider in the body. What this means is it's not going to show, because remember, all of the appointments, and actually let me show you how it looks. So this is how your confirmation can look. Of course, you can make it really pretty and very beautiful, and you can add images and all of that. But right now, my subject line, which is what I have here, you're all booked. This is what your patients are seeing. You're all booked. Of course, it's going to have your logo and your information. And then it says, hello, Denise, your appointment, which is, for example, in this case, your ROF, is with this provider on this date at this time. Some doctors or some practices don't like to show the provider. So this is where you can check it off, and it's not going to show here. Because all of this is automated. At the bottom where it says congratulations, this is what you can modify. So you can't change here at this at the top because it's already preset within the software, but here at the bottom, you can change that here. So for example, this is something like, congratulations, your first step is behind you. You can word everything you need to do. If you want them to upload documents in their portal, whatever is it that you want them to do so that you can have everything you need prior to them coming, then you can definitely have them go into your patient portal, upload their documents, fill out forms, etc. So once you create the body, you can attach a PDF. I have to warn you that you can upload one PDF. If you have more than one document or PDF to fill out, you would have to bundle it together and upload it. But again, if it's too heavy, it's still going to be sent to spam, so we don't recommend it. What do we recommend you sending the forms and the patient forms and all of the instructions here at the bottom where it says forms. You can send us the form, which I hope you already have done because that was part of your previous steps. Or you can actually create your own forms within MPN, depending on how you want that done. So in this case, since I have these forms selected, if you can look at the example of how my email is, you can see all of these forms that people can click and start filling out the information. Again, they can click. They can type their name and keep going. They can actually sign and submit. So they are electronic forms that you can actually link to your confirmation emails and so on. So once you're done updating everything, making it look pretty, you can always click on the view option so that you can view how your email is going to look, and then you can click update. So remember, the confirmation gets sent immediately after you book the appointment. Now let's go to reminders. The reminders is very similar to the confirmation, except you have more options. The first alert can be sent 7 days before, and then the second alert can be sent 1 day before, and then the third alert can be 2 hours before the appointment. Why is this necessary, or why do we have it that way? Sometimes patients book with months in advance, so you may want to remind them 7 days before the appointment, and then the second alert to be 1 day, or for example, if you are going to require for their paperwork to be filled out 48 hours before, you want to choose this 2 days before. And then 2 hours before the appointment. Why is this? Because you usually have very busy people that work. So sometimes it is hard for them to keep track of their calendar. If you send them a notification 2 hours before, this is by text and by email, they might be working and they said, oh yeah, my appointment is in 2 hours, let me get ready. Or even as 1 hour before, so they can start driving. That is completely up to you. Now, again, the subject line, you want to make sure you reword it differently. Don't forget about your appointment. The same thing with the address and the video link. If you are going to have them be sent to your office, just click default. If you want to send them somewhere else, go ahead and type the address and then the video link here as well for you to welcome them into your office. This is where you do your video tour, etc. Now, my recommendation is that you reword it a little bit different from the other one. So just in case they missed a step, they can be reminded. And the forms that you have linked usually will be the same as the confirmation. So you want to make sure you do that. But let's say, for example, that you did select all the forms for them to fill out and they forgot one. The reminder will have that one form. They won't have to fill out all of the forms that they already filled out. That's not necessary. So the only form that will be shown in this reminder email is the form that they have pending from filling out. So that is with the reminder emails. Again, you can go through all of the settings. Again, go ahead and uncheck cancel or reschedule for new patients. That's my recommendation to you, but you can do whatever you want. Click update. You can even view and keep changing it to make your practice needs. Now let's talk about the arrived sequence. What the arrived sequence does, it generates a marketing strategy for you to send various emails for people who have actually shown up to your appointments. So for example, in this case, the ROF appointment, after the patient, you clicked arrived in the calendar, it can send them an email that says 1 day after, 2 days after, whatever you want for them to review you, to fill out a survey, send a thank you card, send a thank you video. I've seen some doctors that do that. So it basically just keeps engaging with them and making sure that they stay motivated and they stay committed to the plan that they either signed up or they didn't sign up. Depends on what the arrived sequence is that you're setting up. And then 7 days after, send them another email. 15 days after, send them another email just to follow up to whatever. Have you booked an appointment again, etc. This is very good for therapies like massages, like foot baths, like laser treatments, like Botox treatments, because you actually follow up with the client. For example, If you're going to do a massage arrive sequence the day after, what do you want them to do? You want them to make sure they stay hydrated, make sure that you are doing the exercises that you gave them, and then 7 days later follow up again. Hey, how are you doing? Do you need another massage? Here's some exercises that you can do extra. Look at this link of all the benefits of getting massages. Or hey, we now have this modality like a red sauna treatment or a foot bath that might benefit you from having because you've already had a massage done. So I know a lot of clients use ActiveCampaign and MailChimp and Synduit to send out emails like that, but why pay for another service if you already have it in MPN? Yes, I know that it's not targeted and funneled like all the other companies do, but if you're just looking for a simple way for you to send a follow-up email as a thank you or we're so glad you came, etc., then this is perfect for you. There is no need for you to go and pay for another service out there. The same thing works for the canceled sequences. Let's say, for example, a patient did in fact cancel. So, hey, let's start a series of sequences. Let's send them an email the day after he canceled. We're sorry that you canceled your appointment. Let's get you back on there. Send them a link to your online booking. Send them some more information so they can be recommitted to your program. And then how about 7 days later or 6 months later? So there is definitely, depending on the sequence that you are going to be creating, you can create an email 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You can be as specific as be very persuasive or very lied into trying to get them to come back. So you definitely want to take advantage of the canceled. You also have confirmed sequence. What about if they no-show? This is something really cool because you can actually send an immediate no-show email telling them, hey, looks like you no-showed your appointment. Let's get you back on the schedule, and you'll create a button in your body that takes them to their patient portal where they can book online, or take them directly to your online booking so they can reschedule or whatever the outcome, or you can even say, sorry, we're going to have to charge you because you no-showed to your appointment, etc., etc. So there's definitely a lot of ways that you can engage with your patient through the sequences. You just have to take the time to create them. And again, you can always reach out to me. I can give you templates. I can give you examples or idea of what other doctors are doing to make sure that you can basically keep everything in one place without having to go out and purchase another software or another subscription when MPN is already engaging with them through an email basis. Okay, so let's take a look at our next setting. We're going to come to the settings menu and we're going to select payment method settings. In this settings, you want to be able to add any payment methods that you might be using. You cannot edit the American Cash, Check, Discover, MasterCard, or Visa because they are linked to your merchant services and then linked to your reports. So that can be edited, but you can add, edit, or delete the ones that you do add. I already added 2 simply by clicking on adding payment, adding the name of the payment, and then clicking submit. For example, the write-off. And since that is not income that is coming in, that is income that I am writing off, then I am going to click on exclude from the report. I am going to click on exclude so that it is excluded off my total income. If I don't select the exclude and I leave it blank, anything that I write off, the software will mark it as if it is income coming in and your accounting will be wrong. So always make sure if your accounting is off, it might be because there is a payment method that you created that you did not exclude from your income. Paying off, that is not necessarily an income. To delete, click delete, and there's that. Let's go back to the settings menu and click on EHR settings. In the EHR settings, you have three options or three tabs. One is the chart templates, when you can create, edit, delete, or clone an existing template. You have ICD codes that are already implemented. These are the ones that most of our clients use. If the one that you use is not on here, you can add it. And there is a quick template option. Let's start with the chart templates. As you notice, there are a lot of templates available already that doctors have created and have decided to share with you. The blue button is to edit, the red button is to delete, and the yellow is to clone. Let's learn how to create a new template from scratch. If you click on New Template, you will be able to add the name, add vitals that you want to collect when you use this template in the EHR, add any chief complaints that you want to preset depending on the template when you use it in the EHR. The same thing with allergies, supplements, medications, and ICD codes. You can be very specific with your template, as for example, if you're going to be creating a diabetes template. Well, in this case, when you select a diabetes template, which vitals would you be collecting? You can click on Add Vitals, add as many labels as you want or fields as you want, and you can click on the word label and rename it, and so on. If you need to delete a label, you can just click Delete. Now, because this is a specific template, you can actually preset chief complaints and the same thing as medications. Why? It basically just saves you time. Instead of having to type medication and chief complaints all the time, which most of them are the same when a diabetic patient comes in, you can preset these information so you can just basically delete it if the patient does not have that medication, then to click on Add, enter the medication name, the dosage, and the instruction. So that is why it's always better to preset templates, and then if you don't need it at the time that you're using the template in the chart note, you can basically delete it. Now, with the supplements, it's also very important that you can preset. Why? Because if you know for a fact that every time a diabetic patient comes, you are going to give them a vitamin D, then you can preset those supplements so that when you populate the chart note in their EHR, it brings the supplement so you don't have to manually type it every time. Now, once you select and you preset all of the information here at the top, at the bottom is where you're going to start creating your own template. You have a menu of options where you can select a checkbox, a check group, you can drag the header. So for example, if you need to move your header up, you click and you move it up. If you need to move this checkbox up, you just drag it and bring it up. There's the text area, the text field, you can drop down, select, you can select from a radio group, you can enter a paragraph, enter a date field, and so on. Now, if you notice here, there's a yellow wording that says EHR link available. What this does is if you actually link this text area to a form, let's say for example, in here, you're going to type in medical history. You want to make it required, you can check this off. And so what that does is when you're going to be creating your forms in MPN, you can, when you ask the patient on the forms to enter the medical history, that data can be brought over seamlessly into your chart note. This is going to help you time-wise. So instead of having to type something that the patient already typed on their forms, well, you can bring it over, and that's what this EHR link available is for. There's only text fields, whether it's a text field or a text area. Again, let's go ahead and drag it over, and then you click on this little pencil to edit. You edit the title. You can make it require. The help text is basically something that you want to type so that your providers or your staff know what goes in that text area. You can leave the placeholder and the value empty. To delete, you can click the X and it disappears from your creation area. And once you're done, you basically just click save and your template will be available. So let's take a look at an existing template. Let's take a look at blood work review. We're going to click on edit. And the doctor who created this template wanted to collect weight, height, BMI, BP, temperature, and heart rate. He didn't preset any chief complaints, allergies, supplements, medications, and ICD codes. He did put, for example, CBC results. This is where he would type all the information. Again, he's just basically presetting everything. And this is what the doctor has for his chart note. But you can actually come in and maybe you do want to preset a medication. Or at the bottom, you want to be able to add a text field that says notes or treatment plan. So you're going to come here, treatment plan, and save it. So yes, you can always build on top of the templates that are already in place. If we look over into the ICD codes tab, you can add an ICD code by clicking add ICD code. You're going to enter the code and the description. Once you do that, you click submit, and then that ICD code gets implemented in here. We do not have all of the ICD codes in our software because it will slow down your EHR. So to prevent from that, we have added the ones that most of our functional doctors or all of our clients use, but you can always add as you go along. That is the reason why we don't have all of the codes available. There's a lot of codes that sometimes basically just clutter your software because you never really use them. If you do, just simply click on add and they'll be there. You can search, you can edit, and you can delete a code. Next, we have the quick templates. Now, this is very helpful if you are seeing patients on a daily basis with the same diagnosis, with the same treatment plans. Instead of you having to retype things over and over and over again in the software with your EHR notes, the quick templates are kind of like short codes. And let me explain. You can click on new and you can create a category. So for example, I am going to do a functional medicine category. I am also going to create a chiropractic category and a primary care category. So once I have these categories, I can click on functional medicine and I am going to create a title for the short code that I am going to write in the content. Example, blood work review recommendation. I recommend the patient to take supplements prescribed and start reducing medication intake. Just an example. I'm going to go ahead and create it. And then I am also going to create a follow-up short code. All right, patient came in and is doing great. Patient is now off medication and is exercising 3 times a week. I'm going to go ahead and create it. I can go back and then do a chiropractic short code. I can enter all of the findings or all of the typical adjustments that I usually do on a patient. Whatever you want to put on your short code. You can do this with all of the categories that you have. You don't necessarily have to rename them. Primary care, chiropractic, functional. You can actually have a Dr. Doe, Denise, health coach, content, things like that. So what this is going to do is I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to click on the EHR. We're going to select the patient. And if you notice here, there is a box that says text templates. I'm going to click on that, and there you have the functional medicine, the chiropractic, and the primary care, which are the ones I added. Since I am under a functional EHR template, I can click on, for example, the plan, and I can come to functional medicine, and I can click on blood work review recommendation, and that automatically gets sent to my text box in my chart note. I can also click on follow up, and again, it gets brought over. So this is going to be very helpful. That way you don't have to write. For example, if you had all of this as a text template or as a quick template, you could just bring it over from this section here. Let's go back, and there you go. You can click on this pencil and you can edit the title. You can click on the red folder, which then will bring the subcategories, and then you can keep typing. And there you have it. This is what our quick template does in the EHR. Okay, so let's go back to the settings menu, and we're going to click on programs and banks. Now, there are programs that you can implement in the software and banks, which are some type of subcategory to the program that you created. Programs are, for example, well, we have a 6-month thyroid program where you're going to sign a patient up to a program, and based on the weeks that they have, they will be able to attend your classes, obtain labs, get supplements, etc., that are part of the program. It's very important that you link a patient to your programs, because for marketing purposes, you can know how many thyroid programs or diabetes or heart or any type of programs that you have. So let's start by adding a program. Let's click on Add Program or Bank. You're going to select the type, whether it's a program or a bank. You can move this cursor to select the months. We're going to select the year. 52 weeks, a year. And then we're going to name it. We're going to call it 12-month diabetes, for example. Now it's going to ask you for the number of days. There's a little icon, the question icon. There is a report that tells you what patient is in what program and how many days they have left for the program to finish. The default date is 7, which means that the software will notify you 7 days before the program is done, letting you know, hey, Denise is about to be done with her wellness program. So you can set it up for 7 days, but if you want to be notified a month before or 14 days before, you can go ahead and enter the information. But usually clients select 7. So we're going to go ahead and click Submit. Now, based off these programs, we usually have banks. The supplement bank is already added. You can click on Delete. And if there are patients linked to that bank, it will give you a warning telling you that you cannot delete this bank, because if you do delete it, it will affect the accounting of the supplement bank or the program that the patient is in. So you cannot delete, but you can always come in and add a bank. So let's go ahead and add. We're going to call it Lab Bank. The labs are usually $1,000. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to add another bank. The class bank is also $1,000. I'm going to add another bank, and I can do another office visit bank. This is going to be very helpful because when there is a patient who wants to buy a supplement that is part of a wellness program, which is linked to a supplement bank, if that supplement was $50 and the patient had $1,000 worth of supplements in their bank, once you add that charge to the supplement bank, it will deduct it, and now it will have $950 left in their supplement bank. So make sure that you go in and add all of your banks and all of the programs available. Remember, you cannot delete, but if you do need us to delete, you can send in a request by going to your Solution Center and then click New Support Ticket and ask for a database change. Going back to the settings, we're going to click on Marketing Source Settings. Now, this is important because, of course, remember, MPN is a patient engaging software and a marketing management software. What does that mean? It helps you understand where your patients are coming from, if it's working, if any marketing source that you have is actually functioning for you, or maybe you should try a different venue. So any type of marketing like Facebook, Instagram, newspapers, a postcard, radio referral, anything, a TV commercial, anything that you have on here, it's going to be linked to your patients where you can say, okay, this patient came off of Facebook, this patient came off of Instagram, this patient came off of a postcard, and at the end of the week or while you're doing your statistic reports and you're going to send them to your coach to know where exactly your leads are coming from, this is where the software is going to help you. So it's very simple. You can click on Add Marketing Source, add the name of your marketing source, and you can edit or delete. You can be very generic, like saying Facebook, or you can add something very specific like Facebook ad for October 14, 2020. So that way you know exactly how many people from that ad became a lead and then hopefully signed up to your wellness program. Let's talk about the visit protocols. I love this feature. When I used to work for that functional medicine doctor, this was my favorite thing in MPN because I am an organizational freak and I want to make sure that every patient was going through the same thing, was following the protocol, and nothing was falling through the cracks, because that was our biggest problem. Since we had so many clients, it was so hard for us to keep up with every single one and make sure that everybody was going through the funnels that we wanted them to go through. So when MPN came out with the visit protocols, it was like heaven to me. Let me show you how this works. You click on Add Visit Protocol, and based on the program that you created previously, let's select the thyroid program. You can enter a description if you like, and it's going to be based on the number of visits. Example, on visit number 1, what do I want to do first? As soon as the patient walks in, they are doing the ROF today. What is it that you need to do? Well, first of all, you need to do a tour. You need to do a tour of the office. And then still on visit number 1, if you have a welcome gift, make sure you give them that. And then let's say they signed up. So you gave them the welcome packet. You need to make sure that all of the forms are filled out and signed, right? So the new patient paperwork is filled out. The same visit, because this is the first visit. You cannot miss anything on the first visit. Sign the PMA form. Sign the no refund policy. I mean, you are going to be so specific as to what this visit is going to be and is going to do for your staff and for your patient. Why? Because what happens is sometimes you end up changing staff members, or sometimes your staff members get sick. And what happens if you depend on a staff member or someone in specific to handle the tasks that they do? If they are gone, if they're not there, things fall through the crack. But in this way, anybody can pick up from where that person left off. Why? Because you have to click on the visit protocols and say, okay, I got to do a tour of the office. I got to give the patient the welcome gift. I'm going to upload the documents in MPN. And then now they're going to sign up to the program consent. They're going to make the payment or set up recurring payment. And then last, you're going to, let's say, for example, you're going to call the patient in the evening to follow up. And then what happens in the next visit, which is the orientation day, right? Well, in orientation day, they receive their binder. Then they attend the class and so on and so on. So you kind of get the deal. Every time the patient walks into your office, you have to have a protocol for what they have to do in that specific day. Why? Because again, you don't want things falling through the cracks. Our visit protocols were like 70 items long. Why? Because I did not miss a step. So let me enter a description. 6-month thyroid. There it is, my 6-month thyroid. I can print it if I need to. I can edit it. I can delete it, depending on what you want to do. So this is what you need to do through all of them. I know that most of the programs are very similar, and you might have to say, I have to do that for everyone. No, what you can do is you can create your visit protocol title. And then once you have all the titles, you can create a ticket and request for a database specialist to copy and paste all of the same protocols in each individual protocol that is with each individual program. So that way you don't have to sit there for hours and type the same things or copy and paste. We can do it within 30 minutes. So that's something that we can definitely help you with. Again, this is extremely important. You want to make sure that this is done the right way from the beginning. Why? Because I'm going to show you really quick. I'm going to go to the patient profile. I'm going to select my patient. I'm going to click on edit. I'm going to go to program info. So they signed up today and they start today. I'll show you what this means later. I'm just trying to show you what the visit protocols will do. Once you link a program to a patient, you click on the visit protocols and ta-da, all your visit protocols are there. Then you're going to be able to check off done. It's going to tell you when it was done and the staff member who handled it. You can make notes. Let's say, for example, could not do a tour of the conference room because the doctor was with another patient, and so on. So that way, when your front desk is not there or whoever needs to attend to the client, okay, well, what do we need to do next? Don't worry. Especially, when they call and they're like, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what class I'm supposed to be taking. Then you just come to the visit protocol list and say, okay, well, let's take a look at what you're doing. Oh, looks like you have not attended orientation. So let's get you scheduled. You get them scheduled. They come. And when they come, you click done. And ta-da, it's already there. I love this feature in MPN. Now, let's talk about the online booking settings. When you click on the settings, the first thing you're going to see is you're going to either check or check off the option for the map to display on your online booking landing page. If you want to see how this looks, you can open the landing page by clicking the view button here. And if you notice, there is a map. This is what it means when you can turn off or turn back on. If you want to turn it off, check it off, go back to your landing page, and the map is not going to show. Now, going back to the settings, you can activate the option for only new patients to book appointments, but I don't recommend that. You want to be able, especially now that you're going to take your practice virtual, to choose new and existing patient appointments. Now, each provider is going to have their landing page and their own online booking setting. So you can turn off the online booking option or turn it back on. You can make it global. What does this mean? It means that you're going to be able, if you have more than one location, to be able to allow the patient to book which location to go to. In this case, if it does not apply to you, you want to be able to turn off this global booking because you don't have another location to send them to. And to edit the online booking settings, you're going to click on Edit. The first option it gives you is to see how many days in advance you want patients to book appointments. We always recommend that you at least put 1 day in advance. So for example, if a patient goes in the calendar to try to make an appointment today, they can't make same-day appointments. They would have to go into tomorrow's date and find an appointment available. To add an appointment type, you simply click on Appointment Type. The drop-down comes up, and you can select which appointment you want to make available. For example, I have a telemedicine conference available. I added the 60-minute office available. I can come back and I can add all of the appointments if I want, or be as specific as how I want to be. Now, you can allow the patient to pay online as well. How do I do that? Once you select the appointments that you want to make available, then you're going to come into the item next to the appointment type selected, and you're going to enter the amount. So for example, here is my telemedicine conference, my 60-minute office visit, my 10-minute office visit, and so on. I can keep on selecting the charge that I want to charge for that specific appointment. Here at the bottom, you're going to be able to pick and choose what times and days available you want to allow patients to book online. If you want to make this day off, you click on Make Day Off. It is going to turn purple and disable the times. If you want to turn them on, you can click that. And if the provider is going to start booking at 8 o'clock, you enable the 8 o'clock. If you want to work in hour slots, then you select 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on. If you work in increments of 30, then you want to do 8, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, or if you want to add in breaks. So for example, yes, I will allow a patient to book an appointment at 8 o'clock, but I want to give a 15-minute break. So instead of 9 o'clock, I will allow a patient to book a next appointment at 9:15, and then from 9:15 I'm going to go to 10:30, and so on. So you can pick and choose what times available you want to allow the patients to book, all the way until your closing time. If you don't want to book any appointments online after 2 p.m., just simply uncheck them or leave them with the light green. If the appointment is light green or pastel green, it means it's off. If you highlight them and it turns dark green, it means the appointment is available at that time. You can also go to special dates. And for example, you don't want to work on Labor Day, so you're going to click on September the 7th and you're going to make it off. You can make it repeat every year and then click on Go Back. Let's take out Thanksgiving. Again, we're going to make day off. We're going to repeat every year and go back. Or maybe the doctor is going on vacation on May from the 10th to the 16th. So you're going to come in, you're not going to repeat it because you don't know when they're going to go on vacation next year, but you're going to repeat this step every time for that week. So once you have the special dates added and the schedule of how you want patients to book appointments, you're going to click Update. If you don't want patients to pay online, delete the appointment here. If you want to delete the whole appointment availability, you click on delete on this button. So how does a patient see that information in the online booking? Let's check it out. I'm going to click update. I'm going to go to my landing page. The first thing it asks is going to be whether they're an existing or a new patient. If they select existing patient, they are going to have to enter the same email address linked to their patient profile and the same cell phone or primary number linked to their patient profile. What happens if they select existing patient and they type a different address and the same number? It's not going to let them. It's going to ask them to please check their email. Or if they enter the correct email but the wrong phone number, it's going to then ask them to please check the email. If it does not match, it's going to ask them to either call your office or log into their patient portal to update the information. But if in this case they do have the right email and the right address, it will then link it to that patient profile and book the appointment. There's not going to be a duplicate patient profile, etc. So you can rest in that. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, because the only appointment we have available here is for new patient appointments, I'm going to come in and I'm going to select new patient. It is going to ask me for all of the information that I need to ask. Like, for example, choose a service, the reason for the visit, patient information, and it's also going to ask for the marketing source. Once they fill out this information, they are going to be able to see which appointments are available depending on their time zone. Now, in this case, there's a 1 o'clock appointment. They can click on it. Now, because I did ask for the patient to pay $49.99, once the patient adds this information and asks to book the appointment, it will ask them to pay for that appointment. Let me show you. Okay, so I filled out all the information. I selected my time. I'm going to click on book appointment. And it says, are you sure you want to book a new patient appointment at this time? Yes, perfect. Book now. And because I don't have merchant services linked to this demo, it's going to allow them to still book the appointment, as you can see. And I got my email confirmation. I'm sure I'm going to get my reminder, and I'm just basically, I can go back and create a new appointment. But if I did have merchant services linked, it would have asked me to enter a card on file so they can process my card and pay for that appointment. So going back to the software, this is how you manage your online booking. Going back to the settings menu, the next we're going to do is the online store settings. The online store is going to allow you to sell your products online. This is a great way to increase your revenue. We do have testimonials from doctors that they are able to increase their yearly revenue by 10% just by activating the online store. So this is definitely going to help you. Now, you can click on active to activate your store. You can click on view store so that you can see your online store, and then the link at the top on your address bar is what you want to then copy and paste on all of your email signatures, or if you want to put a button on your website, you can do so as well. So you can allow for the pickup option. So instead of you shipping the products to them, you can allow them to select the product to be picked up at the office. You can hide your logo if you want to, which means that it's not going to show your logo here at the top. It's just basically going to hide it. You can set up a default discount. This is very important. A lot of practices who are going virtual, what they're doing is they're offering a 5 or 10% discount for anybody that purchases supplements online. Why do you want to get your patients accustomed to going online and ordering products? It saves manpower and it's easier for your staff to handle any products that are purchased. So this is an option that you can allow for patients to receive discounts. You have 3 shipping costs. Now, please remember that MPN is not a drop ship software. It's not like they can purchase the products online and a third-party vendor will ship them for you. No. What the software does is allows you to sell the supplements that you have in your inventory. And when a patient purchases a product, what it's going to do is it's going to create to do something similar like this. So when you click on it, it's going to say purchased, processed through the online store. It's going to give you the address, or if the patient is going to pick it up at the office, tell you the products that they purchased, and you will have to manually print labels, set up the box for them, and ship it, or just put the supplements aside for the patient to pick them up. We do have 3 tiers of shipping costs. 1 to 5 items, 6 to 20 items, 3 to 21 items. So we highly suggest that you go to the UPS website and try to figure out what you want to charge per these tiers. I do have doctors who charge $10 from 1 to 5 items, $25 for 6 to 20, and then more depending on how many items you are going to be shipping. And just so you know, you can leave this option blank, because what doctors do is they actually, in the inventory section, they will weigh the product. For example, here, they will weigh this vitamin D to see how much it takes to ship it, and they will add the shipping cost to the price. So when the patient purchases the supplement online, the shipping is already included. Now, it is the same price whether you buy it online or you go to the office and do so, but that at least prevents you from losing money with shipping costs, and you make money by those who actually did walk in the office. You can create online shopping categories, which is something similar like this. Books, general, miscellaneous, supplements. These are the categories that you can create for your patients to search supplements or products faster. And then at the bottom, you can create coupons. For example, a Labor Day sale, a Thanksgiving sale. Now that December is coming and you want to make sure you get all the products off the shelf so you don't have to pay taxes on, then add a 20, 30, 40% discount. Give them a code, and then that is going to be allowing them to apply that code to that purchase and get that discount. You can edit a category, you can delete a category, the same thing with coupons. Now, for you to manage your inventory, this is not done on the online store settings. This is actually done in your inventory module. So you click on this tag here, and you can go and search all the products, which I only have a few, and I can click on the product name, look at the information, and choose to sell online, upload a picture, put an online description, select the category of what you want, and update. So this inventory module works in hand with the online store settings, and that is how you handle your online store. Now, the way that your patients see the online store is this. They will see your logo. They can click on home, which is this is home. They can call your office. They can click, let's say, for example, here, I want to add it to the cart. They can use their username and password, which is the same as the patient portal, or they can click to sign up if they haven't signed up. They'll go ahead and log in, enter their card on file, and make the payment. And once they make the payment, you will get that notification as a to-do. It will deduct the products from the inventory, and that way all you have to do is basically get them off the shelf, put them in a box, ship it, or put it aside for the patient to pick up. Okay, so next is going to be the export to CSV, which means comma separated value. This is how you can export all of your active patients, your inactive, or you can select specific type of patients that you have. You can export financials and import them into QuickBooks. So you select a date. Today, again, all or inactive, depending on what you want. All your patient types or a specific patient type. And then you click export. And your Excel spreadsheet, which is a comma separated value, gets downloaded. The same thing with your financial export. Click export and you're done. There are two types to create forms within MPN. The first one is by you sending us the PDF documents and us turning it into a JSON file, which then allows the forms to be electronically filled out and then sent as a document into the patient's profile. But you can also create your own forms from scratch. So I'm going to click on Form Settings. And I actually have quite a few forms that clients have already created that are willing to share with you. So for example, let's take a look at the initial consultation intake form. I'm going to click on Preview It. And it'll ask them to fill out today's date, their first and last name, their first health complaint, second health complaint, so on and so forth. They can check mark anything they want to do. And again, basically fill out this information. So instead of you having to create online or electronic forms, you can already create those same templates and forms within MPN. And they are going to be able to fill it out, sign it, and then it'll be transferred as a PDF document in the patient's profile. You can edit the form and you can delete a form. To add a form, you click on Add Form. You have basic fields, which is a header, large text field, small, drop down, multiple choice, and you have special fields like signature or text that you cannot edit, which this is where your consent protocols, your agreements would go. You can ask for date, phone number, address, etc. So you can basically come in, drop the fields that you want, change the title. So here under label, I'm going to say select gender and options female and male. There you go. So now they're going to be able, when they see this form, they'll be able to see select gender and they will be able to pick male or female. Now I can go and add fields and keep on adding as many fields as I want. Make sure that when you drag it, you do see the dark gray box, which is where it's going to show the text. And then here at the bottom, you can choose for the signature to be entered. The signature is done as they draw their signature with their mouse or their finger if they're doing an iPad. So once you create your form, of course, you can enter the form name. If it's a new patient form or an existing form, you can go ahead and add it or cancel it. But before you add a form, I highly suggest that you go through all of the forms that we have on here, so that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, if you don't like our forms because they might be too plain for you and you rather have your own forms, again, send them to us and we will create them as a JSON file so that you can also send your own original forms to your patients. So you have those two options. But if you want to be able to link your forms to your EHRs, like we talked about in the EHR settings, you have to select the form that was created directly in MPN and not one that was uploaded as a JSON file. So, for example, let me show you. Let's take a look at the review of symptoms. I'm going to edit, and I am going to add a basic field for a large text. I'm going to drag it. So once I drag the text field, you're going to see that there is an EHR link drop down available. I'm going to click on the EHR link, and let's just say I want to link it to my office visit template. Then it's going to give me another drop down that is going to allow me to select whatever text the patient fills out here to automatically bring it to my subjective. Why? Because in this untitled field, I am going to put here past medical history. So everything that my patient types here, it's going to be then sent over to my subjective box in my office visit EHR template. And that is how you link a form created within NPM to an EHR template. The next setting is more of a convenience for you. Sometimes clients do create duplicate charts. So if you need to merge profiles, you're going to select the profile to keep and the profile to merge. In this case, if I had two profiles that have the same name, I would select it here. But since I don't have duplicates, it's pretty much I don't have to do that. But it would be something like this. And all I have to do is click on merge, and I can check or uncheck the delete merge profile. Since you are going to merge, I do suggest that you delete the file that is going to be left empty, because everything is going to merge into the profile to keep. And then once you've selected the files to keep and to merge, you click merge and you're done. This last setting is a little tricky. Just to give you a little bit of a background, you are going to be able to set up and manage your webinars and seminars within NPM. It's an awesome feature that we have, but there are some clients when they first sign up to NPM that like to go back and enter all of the information that they had on their spreadsheet into NPM for an easier marketing report and for automated statistics, etc. So if that is the case, under the seminar settings, you can set up a time frame for past seminars to be in the patient profile. So for example, if you're a new client that is going to be entering everything past dated from 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, you can pick and choose. So that is what you choose here. If you're really not interested in entering past information, this really does not apply to you. The same thing when it comes to checking or unchecking this option. It reads, when changing the status of appointments to canceled or rescheduled, it will unset the confirmed and arrived tags. What do I mean by this? There are some doctors that, although people confirm to attend to a seminar and they don't come, they still want to show in their statistics that they did confirm for marketing purposes. Some clients like this and some clients say no. If they no-showed, it still should show as canceled and therefore it should not be marked as confirmed. If you do want to be able to show this as confirmed, even though this status is changed to canceled or no-show, you need to come to the settings and have this unchecked. Because if you do want it to change the statistics on your confirmed, you want to check this box. I know this may be a little confusing because we haven't seen the module for your seminars, but once you look at it and you get the hang of it, then you can come back and check this or uncheck it or select a time frame for past seminars in the profile. Meanwhile, you can leave it as is, but create a to-do to make sure that you go back and change this in the future. Now, the last setting that you have here, you're not going to have access to it, so there's no point of me showing you. This setting is something that I have access to as your software coach. So we can skip this tab as it only pertains to all the APIs that we can plug in the software. Last but not least, I'm going to show you the statistics page. This is basically a health report for your practice. You're going to be able to know how much income it's coming in on a daily, monthly, quarterly, and an annual basis. You'll know if your income is decreasing or decreasing. You'll know an income graph per hour. This is going to be very helpful to know whether you need to change the office hours, your lunch schedule, etc. If you want to know by week, what are your highest days or your lowest days? The same thing with your monthly. What days of the month are better and what days are not? And which month can you go on vacation? Because, for example, June was probably a low month. So therefore, next year you can plan your vacation based on your statistics that can show you what to do without losing money. You'll also be able to know appointment type statistics. Today, weekly, monthly, on an annual basis, how many appointments you've created, any demographics as to what leads, how many leads have actually converted into patients. The same thing monthly, daily, and quarterly. So this is going to show you the percentage and a graph versus patients and leads. Right now, I only have leads in this software. That's why it's only showing me lead information. And then the appointment stats. This is helpful because this way you can know whether your confirmation calls are working, whether your emails, your reminders, what is it that is actually working and how can you do to improve your attendance. This is done in an annual, daily, quarterly, monthly. You can switch it around and make it to where how you want it to be, something like this. And then at the bottom, you'll see upcoming birthdays. So it's going to give you a list of the birthdays coming up, any payment methods about to end, and any program status. Based on all of the programs that you have, how many actual clients you have signed up to a program, and based on the graph, how many patients you have for 6-month thyroid versus a 6-month diabetes or a 12-month cardio, etc. And you can select day, weekly, monthly, and annual. I love this health report because as an office manager, I was able to pinpoint the areas and the opportunities of growth so I can then get better coaching, get more training, whatever I needed to do to bring my appointment stats up or my demographic stats up or actually convert leads to patients. So this is going to be a great report. So finally, after almost 2 hours, we have finished the online owner/office manager training module. So go ahead and go back to your solution center, going to setting up MPN step by step. You have completed step 10. Now we're going to go into the second page and we're going to do next, which is complete module 1. Now, module 1 is for everyone in your staff to see. See you there.